Again, 8 laps the distance. Top 3 will transfer. So check that. Top 5 transfer. Top 3 to the redraw. My mistake. As we get ready here for our first VP 358 modified heat event up the back straightaway. So Janzik going to do a little transponder check down here on the front straightaway. Going to get the drivers to go single file down here. A little bit of technical difficulties up here in the tower, so we'll get them lined up nose to tail and get ready to go. Paul, you were going over the schedule earlier as you were going over that under the red flag. What is the event you're looking forward to the most here at the Home of Heroes?
Well, actually, there's a lot of them that I'm looking forward to during the course of the season. I love watching sprint cars here at Utica-Rome. We're going to get plenty of that with the Kubota High Limit Racing Series. Also appearances from the Empire Super Sprints and the CRSA 305 sprint cars here during the course of the season. Some of the very old school twin 20s. Those haven't been done in a while. That's old school racing for those of you that have been around the sport for a minute or two, where we'll play 2 for Memorial Day weekend. I'm also looking forward to having the Rush Crate late models here.
You know, you mentioned those twin 20s back in the day. I guess I'm old enough to say that now, back in the day.
Yeah.
There was 2 drivers that got their very first wins on twin 20s night. Phil Beaver got one, and Pat Ward got his first ever feature win on a twin 20 night. I think I was 6. Okay. Maybe 7. So actually waiting on a couple of more cars here to actually join this field here.
Now we had a late lineup change, so trying to give these drivers the opportunity to get out here and fall into their respective starting positions.
So 2x2 up the back straightaway as we wait for the start of heat race number 1 for the VP 358 Modifieds. 35 cars in the pit area for the 358s. Not a bad car count at all. And Paul, you had the total car count earlier.
Yeah, it was somewhere in the neighborhood, I want to say, of 116, but I think we've added a couple late arriving cars. One of them was Aaron Jacobs. He actually called and said he was on his way, but cutting it pretty close here. He's got himself a sprint car that he's going to be racing this season as well.
As we look down here on the front straightaway, don't forget your 50-50 ticket. Half of the funds go to the Driver's Point Fund, and half goes to you, a lucky fan. So if you see a 50-50 girl out here walking around, be sure to give her a holler and get yourself a 50-50 ticket so you are in the running here this evening at the Home of Heroes. I also saw a lady walking around with a big bucket of beer for sale. You don't even have to get up and go down there. She's coming to you, so wave her down. She's got a variety of drinks, and grab yourself a beverage while you sit right there and check out all the action here at Utica-Rome Speedway. I see one car rolling up there in turn number 2 making its way out. Hopefully that's one of the cars we were missing. But under this extended caution period here, waiting on a couple of cars to show up with some late arrivals. Talked about how smooth the racetrack looked. It looks like it's holding up pretty well out here on this fast half mile. Looks tacky. A couple of lanes of racing. And Paul, I think our signage board has grown in the off season. I mean, they are just adding and adding and adding right here on the front straightaway.
Yeah, and kudos to all of these great businesses helping to support racing here at the Utica-Rome Speedway, and we ask that you in turn support them, do business with them, and when you do business with them, make sure you tell them that you heard about them at the races.
Yeah, and you know what? If you see a company that you need to use, go ahead and like their Facebook page too. That social media is so important these days with businesses. So if you see something down there that you need at your house, your business, whatever the case may be, go ahead and like their Facebook page, follow them on Instagram, and tell them, hey, I'm using you because I saw you at Utica-Rome Speedway.
That Rocky Warner, who was slated to start inside row number 2, and the number 78 machine has elected to start at the tail of the field.
42 to the outside, 40.
So 2x2, Matt Jancic and Dave Marchicelli up there in row number 1. As Paul mentioned, Rocky Warner falls to the rear. That moves Billy Dunn up inside of row number 2. Max Hill behind him as we get ready to go green. This time off the corner, 8 laps the distance, 5. Transfer 3 to the redraw. VP 358 modified, heading to turn number 1. Matt Jancic out to that number 1 spot. Marchicelli works the outside of the racetrack. Can't quite keep up. Here comes Billy Dunn. Dunn up the back straightaway. He'll come right to the tail end of the number 1 machine of Marchicelli down in between the corners. Dunn to the bottom side of the racetrack. He'll work the bottom. Marchicelli up top. Lap number 1 goes to Matt Jancic as he sails up into turn 1 and 2. Dunn slips up a little bit. He'll lose 2 or 3 car lengths. Now he'll cross over and come right back at Marchicelli up the back straightaway. Nose to tail down into turn number 3, the 49, looking for racing room. He'll go to the bottom. Marchicelli also will do the same thing as they head up the front. Jancic on the chip down in between turns 1 and 2, tiptoeing away. Give him 15 car lengths up the back straightaway as the battle for the number 2 spot spreads out just a little bit. Marchicelli there for the number 2 position. 3rd place race. Billy Dunn, the Watertown, New York pilot, off the corner with his number 49. Left front up in the air. He got some grip off the corner. He'll take a look to the inside of Marchicelli down in between the turns. Marchicelli much better in between turns 1 and 2, and the 49 has found some moisture. Dunn on the inside. Side-by-side battle. He's got the preferred line down in between turns 3 and 4. Marchicelli on the loud pedal off the corner. Does he have it? No. It is going to be Billy Dunn down into turns 1 and 2. We are halfway. 4 down, 4 to go as they head up the back straightaway. Matt Jancic in his own zip code up the back. He hits turn 3. The rest of the field at the halfway point of the back straightaway. Field spread right out here as Marchicelli looking for racing room, trying to go to work on the 49. Billy Dunn so good off turn number 4, left front in the air, grabbing all that moisture. The Oneida New York pilot, Matt Jancic with the 33 up the back straightaway, looking for 2 to go this time by. Rabbit ears are up as Jancic comes off the corner. He sees the 2 to go signal this time. 6 down and 2 as he heads to turn 1. Dunn now has spread his wings here a little bit and pulls away from Marchicelli. The Montezuma, New York driver in the M1 rides third. Off the corner, Matt Jancic. Left front about a foot up in the air. Man, is there some moisture down on the inside of turn 4. White flag is up, 1 to go. Jancic up the back. Oh, Dunn in trouble. He bobbles down the corner. He is out of power with the 49. Something has broke aboard that machine, and the 49 is out of power as we come to the checkered. We are going to finish this one under checkered, and it will be Matt Jancic out of Oneida, New York, picking up VP 358 modified heat number 1. Dave Marcichelli there for the number 2 spot. Third place race, Adam Roberts. Nick Skolinski finishes in that number 4 position. Max Hill rounds out the top 5. Brian Murphy, Aaron Jacobs, Billy Dunn, and Rocky Warner round out the field for our first VP 358 modified event. And Paul, I tell you what, the 49 was on rails looking fantastic out there, and something has gone away on that machine, and they will have to thrash to get him back out. He will be in Consi number 1.
There will be 2 consolation races for the VP Racing Fuels 358 Modifieds coming up at the conclusion of the heat race rotation here this evening. And remember, again, the JB Sewer and Septic 4-cylinders will not have a heat race tonight. They are a feature-only class, so we will see them at the end of the round of features coming up. But the Real Truck 49 and Billy Dunn, unfortunately, having to be pushed back into the pit area here at the conclusion of qualifier number 1 for the VP Racing Fuels 358 Modified. Here's the starting lineup for our second heat race. Again, top 3 finishers will redraw for feature event starting spots. Top 5 will transfer to the feature. Zach Welch from New Berlin with the 67W goes for pole. Brendan Gibbons, the youngster out of Amsterdam with the B24 outside row 1. She is young, but she's experienced. Many years in a Sportsman. Jessica Power out of Kingston, Ontario, Canada with the 52 inside row 2. Outside will be the Chris Mackey number 3 out of Rome. Chad Brockman out of Sanborn, New York, making the trip eastward to Utica-Rome tonight. He'll put the 3B inside row number 3. Tucker O'Connor out of Lake Pleasant on the outside with the 42. The Killer Crate 97, Bobby Hackle the 4th out of East Greenbush inside row 4. And outside is Jared Herbison with the number K38 out of Vernon. Final starter in the field will be Cameron Black out of Lafargeville with the number 23B. So 9 cars being called to post. All 9 have reported to the racing surface. And we will be ready to go green when they hit the start zone over in turn number 4. These 358 modifieds for this series of races that will happen throughout the course of the 2025 season, running under the dirt car rulebook, which means they are on Hoosier tires. The rest of our divisions running the American Racer tires.
All right, bunch them up together, guys, nice and tight.
All right, getting ready to come to green for the start of our second VP Racing Fuels 358 modified heat race. Green flag waves. Welch not good on the start, falls back to 3rd. Gibbons will launch forward into the lead, and it looks like jumping into the number 2 spot is Mackey with the number 3. Trouble for the Niagara-sponsored number 3 of Chad Brockman. The contact there is folded over the front end of the 3B machine, and he has pulled it down alongside one of the Uke tires on the inside of turn number 2, and the caution flag will wave before we're able to get a full lap in the book. And they're going to need to go ahead and pick up the front end on the Brockman 3B machine.
Hey guys, on this restart, remember the lead.
Take a look at the FloRacing replay, and it looked like the front end folded over. I'm not sure if it was contact with another car or just a mechanical issue, but you can see how the both the front tires are definitely not at the designated caster and camber. We'll get a look here going into turn number 1 on our FloRacing replay, and it looks like there may have been a little contact there from the outside. It was a tight squeeze for Brockman going up into turns 1 and 2. So the Niagara Garden Equipment sponsor machine up on the hook will unfortunately head back to the pit area, and they're going to have to effect a fair amount of repairs on that car to get them ready to go for the consolation races coming up a little bit later on this evening. So they're able to get him clear of the racing surface as he heads up to the top of turn number 1.
All right, racers, coming to the white flag, coming to the white.
They will see the white flag as a 1 to go signal before we get back underway when they come by the flag stand this time. And again, thanks to some of our other great Utica-Rome Speedway sponsors here at the Home of Heroes. They include our friends from Senior Services Insurance Agency, Paleo Landscape, and the Parks Companies, along with James Bray Paving and Excavating, Jenkins Electric, Cushman Truck and Auto Repair, Picture Perfect Pools and Spas, NBT Bank, the Amsterdam Pediatric Dentistry Practice, Zelensky's Asphalt, along with American Fireworks, TO Pro Cars, Bicknell Racing Products, and the folks from DKM.
Remember this original start, flagger starts the event.
So again, no lap showing here. Heat number 2 of 4 for the VP Racing Fuels 358 Modifieds. Getting ready to approach the start zone once again. We'll see if Welch can get a better start than on the original green. As they make their way into the zone, front row leaves together, green flag waves, and Gibbons will look to win the drag race over Welch going into turns 1 and 2. And it's going to be Mackey dropping to the inside of Welch to move up to second, 3 wide behind them, a high-low split on the outside, the 42 of O'Connor on the inside, the 97 of Hackle the fourth, as they both split the Jessica Power number 52 as we complete lap number 1. Down through turns 1 and 2, Gibbons maintains the lead, but it's not by much over Mackey. Moved to the inside by the 97 of Hackle. The fourth will put him up into the 3rd position as Mackey starts to draw in on race leader Gibbons, coming down off turn number 4 to complete lap number 2. Hackle now giving chase from 3rd with that Killer Crate sponsored number 97. Jessica Power in the 4th position with the number 52 machine, and it looks like O'Connor is in the mix there as well in the top 5. Battle on now for the number 2 spot coming off turn number 4 as Hackle looks down to the inside going into turns 1 and 2. Mackey holds on off the outside lane as they head down the backstretch into turn number 3. This battle happening about 4 car lengths behind your race leader, who is about to come to the halfway point. So Gibbons sees the cross flags as he marches back off into turns 1 and 2. And it looks like right now O'Connor is hanging on to the 5th and final transfer spot with Power just ahead in the number 4 position, or excuse me, that's Power much further back in the field. She's actually sitting at the very back of the line right now, which means our 4th place car would be the Welch number 67 as we continue to watch the battle between Mackey and Hackle as they head down into turn number 3. Hackle all the way up alongside Mackey, shoots through on the inside, makes the move, takes over the number 2 spot now, coming off turn number 4 with 2 laps left to go. Rubber starting to lay down on the racing surface as your race leader Gibbons has about a 6 car length margin over Hackle, who is gapped by about 2 car lengths over Mackey. Going into turns 3 and 4, they will get the white flag this time, so one more trip around for race leader Gibbons. Again, followed by Hackle in 2nd, and most importantly for Mackey in the number 3, he is in the final redraw spot. So the checkers will wave coming off turn number 4, so Gibbons will get the victory. Hackle will finish 2nd. Mackey grabs the 3rd spot. Welch in for 4th. O'Connor will place in the number 5 position. And they will be the 5 cars that will transfer out of the 2nd VP Racing Fuels 358 modified heat. Going to the Consi will be the Herbison 3B, the black 38, the Power 52, and the Glen Forward 7C. So that is heat number 2 of 4 for the VP Racing Fuels 358 Modifieds. They'll head back to pit row. Heat number 3, getting ready to roll out onto the racetrack, another 8-lap affair.
That's right, 8 laps of distance. Again, a top 5 transfer, top 3 to the redraw for the VP 358 Modifieds. And here's how Heat 3 will line up. Out of Clayton, New York, on the pole with his number 11, it's Matt Caprera. Alongside the Franklin Flyer, out of Unadilla, New York, the 91, Billy Decker. Jeff Taylor starts inside of row number 2 with the 11T out of Chittenango. Brad Gottschalk alongside out of Hamilton with the 7G. Row 3 on the inside out of Fulton, New York with his number 13 is Teddy Starr. Out of the great country to the north with the 1, it's David Hebert. Row 4 on the inside, starting 7th on the field out of Mount Upton, New York. In the 23, it's David Dickey. And alongside out of Teresa, New York, the 31 is Lance Willix. Shotgun on the field in his own row out of South Berlin, New York. The 14T is Peyton Talbot. So all those drivers scheduled to go. I don't see the Talbot machine. There it is. So Talbot with the 14 laying back there a little bit. The FX Caprera Car Company's number 11, Matt Caprera, will bring him down to the green flag. Again, 8 laps the distance. The veteran on the outside, Billy Decker. 2x2 ready to go down in between turns 3 and 4 as they get ready for our starters' green flag. 2x2 looking good off the corner. And I think he's going to hold that green flag back. We will see as they head to turn number 1. Matt Caprera works the inside of the racetrack. And that'll be a restart. He does not like that one. Pull the green flag back, re-rack, restack, and try it again. Give him one more shot at it here. 2x2 off the corner. Caprera and Decker will bring him down. So Van Doren, in the 10 up the back straightaway into turn number 3. So Van Doren off the corner. My mistake, up the back straightaway, out in front by about 8 car lengths. It's Matt Caprera there for the number 2 spot. The FX Caprera Car Company's number 11 and the other number 11, Jeff Taylor, with his 11T down in between turns 3 and 4, and it's a hornet's nest behind him off the corner. All kind of action from 4th on back as they head up to turn number 1. Hebert to the inside, looking for racing room on David Dickey. They'll go side by side momentarily. Dickey checks out off the corner, the right rear up on the cushion, and he'll go by the number 7 of Gottschalk out of Hamilton, New York. That driver will drop it down in between turns 3 and 4, but the 23, David Dickey, will pull away from this group up the front straightaway, showing some power as he runs in the top 4 right now in between turns 1 and 2. Looking at halfway this time, cross flags are in the air. 4 down, 4 to go as they head to turns 1 and 2. Top 3 spread right out here now. Hebert is drawn back in on the 23 of Dickey as they go up the backstretch. Hebert pulling up with a bright orange 1 as they go to turn number 3. He'll look to the inside of the speedway. Can he make a move? On the 23 machine off the turn, Dickey holds that position as they come up the front straightaway. The Diaz entry up into turns 1 and 2. Hebert looks to the bottom, can't make it happen. Now Lance Willix, he'll enter the chat up the back straightaway. The 31 car, and they're like a train off the turn. 2 to go. as our leader heads up the back straightaway. Battle right now, though, is for that number 4 position. 4th, 5th, and 6th right together. Dickey up the back straightaway. He's got that number 4 spot. A Bear rides in 5th. 6th place race is the 31 of Willix. And got one off the back straightaway under the white flag. He'll pull. That's Teddy Starr. Starr goes the infield. He is out of the way. Van Doren across the stripe. Checkered flag in the air. And he blew him away during that heat race number 3. Caprera finishing in the number 2 spot. 3rd place race goes to Jeff Taylor. And the hotly contested number 4 position goes to Teddy Starr. Tanner Van Doren picks up the win for the VP 358 modified heat race number 3. Again, those top 5 drivers, Tanner Van Doren, Matt Caprera, Jeff Taylor, David Dickey, and Lance Willix all will transfer, but it'll be Van Doren, Caprera, and Taylor to the redraw. And 5 through 10, and David Hebert finishing in that number 6 spot. So that'll do it for VP 358 modified heat race number 3, with Van Doren picking up the win as we get ready for heat race number 4 action, and they're lined up there in turn number 2.
And the way they'll go away for this one, Jim Walsh out of Lakeport with the 369 shares the front row with the $18. That is Sean Beardsley out of Central Square. Gordon Smith out of Oxford, another next generation driver inside row 2 with the 44 outside. Jim Gold from Edmiston with the 28G. 3rd row on the inside, Fulton's Amy Holland with car number 5H. Outside that row will be Andrew Ferguson out of Mexico with the 34. Then our final scheduled row should be Addison Bowman out of Mexico with car number 12, and Noah Walker with the number 22. As we continue with the action here on Brodell Fuel Group Night. From our family to yours, with locations in Hubbardsville and West Winfield, with delivery of propane, fuel oil, kerosene, diesel, and gasoline in Madison, Oneida, Shenango, Herkimer, and Otsego counties.
Green out of turn 4.
All right, we are going to try to go green when they hit the start zone over in turn number 4. That black 369 of Walsh sharing the front row with the Beardsley number 18 as they hit the start zone in turn number 4. Green flag in the air. Final VP Racing Fuels 358 modified heat. Beardsley will win the drag race going into turn number 1. Little contact there with Ferguson in the 34, making contact with Walsh 4 wide for a moment as Bowman looks to jump up a couple of spots with the number 12 as the pack works its way down through turns 3 and 4. They are still jammed up back there. Amy Holland dropped down to the inside with a 5 car, and it looks like trouble for the 34 of Ferguson. That contact in turn number 1 on the takeoff lap has apparently damaged something on the 34, and he is on pit road. Meanwhile, your leader aboard the 18, that is Sean Beardsley, bringing that car off turn number 4 down across the line. Second spot is the number 22 entry of Noah Walker. Walker coming from the back of the field. Holland in 3rd, being chased by Gordon Smith's number 44. The gap there in the battle for the 3rd and 4th position. The final redraw spot stands at about 3 or 4 car lengths as they work their way down off turn number 4. Coming to the cross flags halfway through. 5 down, 5 left to go. Bowman working off turn number 4. Sitting back there in the number 3 spot. Amy Holland is 4th. And the 44 of Gordon Smith rounding out the top 5. And the final car on the racing surface. So all 5 of these cars will qualify. The top 3 still racing for positions in the redraw for starting spots. We'll go side by side here on Flow as you're watching the race leader Beardsley on the right side of the screen, left side of the screen. A battle for the 3rd and 4th position starting to break out. Bowman on the left side of the screen with the number 12, working the bottom lane here through turns 3 and 4. as Amy Holland tries to draw in. 6 laps complete to remain as they head back into turns 1 and 2. Holland with good progress there. Gets the car to rotate nicely around the center of turn number 2 and down the back stretch. The gap between these two in this battle for that last redraw spot, only about a car length. Now it's less as your race leader Beardsley comes by to take the white flag. Walker still in that number 2 position as we watch the battle off turn number 2 in the FX Capura sponsored 12 of Bowman, able to hold off Amy Holland for the moment as Beardsley will come off turn number 4 to the checkered flag to pick up the heat race win. Walker will finish second. Bowman goes to the redraw with a 3rd place finish. 4th spot will go to Amy Holland, and then the 5th spot will go to the 44 of Gordon Smith. So that will wrap up the qualifying heats for the VP Racing Fuels 358 Modifieds. They're going to have a couple of consolation races coming up in a little bit. We'll shift our attention now to the Taylor's Trailers Crate 602 Sportsman category. You can find Taylor's Trailers, by the way, at 7113 East Dominic Street in Rome. If you're in the market for a new dump, utility, cargo, snowmobile, ATV, landscaping, or equipment trailer, Taylor's Trailers is here to hook you up with over 300 trailers on the lot to choose from. The Crate 602 Sportsman, referring to the GM Crate 602 engine that is mounted in each of these race cars, running on a 2-barrel carburetor. Similar tires to their big brothers, the 358 Modifieds and the 3 Bastards Brewing Modifieds, which have their season debut here 1 week from tonight. And our Taylor's Trailers Crate 602 Sportsman running on the American Racer tires. Take a look at the starting line.